Hello, this is Dylan from Van Bros here. I'm doing a deck profile on Nova Grappler Victor. And yeah, we're going to start this with the starter. Kabutron. Kabutron is a starter that when you counterblast one, you put this in the soul. At the end of the battle that a unit was boosted, that this unit boosted, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose up to one other rear guard and stand it. And it gets plus 2k. That's good for, you know, after the onslaught of attacks that, you know, Victor has. This is that good, you know, take it home, you know, that last attack. That
sometimes your opponent might call a judge on you.
Yeah, exactly. That happened to me in Jacksonville. That was bullshit. So that was the starter, Capuchon. Now we'll move on to grade 3s. You want to run 4 of Excessive. He is good for, you know, this deck usually finds itself counterblasting a lot, so he's helpful because it's a Soul Blast. And, yeah, you know, he stands a column instead of just one, giving it +5, like Extreme Battle or Victor. When you stride over him, you get +5 and you stand a unit when he attacks. That's the stride skill. And his GB2 is when this unit attacks a Vanguard, stand a unit, give it +5, and he also gets +5. And Excessive is his GB2 is when this unit is stood due to an effect of one of your cards. All the units in your front row get +2k. Now grade 2s, you're gonna want to run 4 Arboreal. Arboreal is good for, you know, just a good combo. It's a Counterblast 1, it's a Soul Blast, and when this unit attacks, stand or rear guard. Now, and give it +5k. And that would be good for a combo with Sever Temper, because whenever Sever Temper stands, you want to run 4 of him, he gives himself +5. So when Arboreal stands him, he'll give him another +5. So you'll be at a second attack with 19k. And and Sever Temper skill is when your GB2 is when this unit stands, it gives himself +5. His GB1 is when your Vanguard drive checks. If the drive check revealed a grade 3, and you can retire a card in the front row of your opponent's front row if the attack was equal or greater, if Sever Tempers was. So that's good for retiring. You know, Nova Grappler doesn't have a lot of that, but it's good for that. You want to run 3 of Sazanza. He, whatever, it's a robot, so it doesn't really matter, I guess. It's pretty good. It's like the Sever Temper, but the old version, so it's good to run 3. It's a good backup. It's good. It's a stand and a +5 when it's stood. So that's just a good base. You know, you want to run 4 of the Perfect Guard on Flipper. It's you know, because they find themselves being pretty harsh on the counterblast, but they help themselves with a lot of the new support and stuff. 4 of the you know, the Stride Fodder. You know, pretty good Stride Fodder. It's not bad. You know, most decks need that. It's not bad. Now, Malayaki, he's a good card because he has Rush. This deck is mainly around Rush. His effect is, if you have a Vanguard with Victor in its card name, all the other units in the same column as this unit gets. The Rush effect. Vanguard or rear guard. When this unit is stood due to the effect from one of your cards, until the end of turn, this unit gets Vanguard or rear guard. It's an auto. When this unit attacks a Vanguard, choose up to one of your other units and they get +4k. So it's like, let's see. Like this and like this. So let's say Victor attacks, and with one of the strides, you attack and you would stand this unit. Because it was in the same column, because this unit stood, you can give 2 other units 4k. So it's good for, you know, just a good amount of power given out, and it's just good for that next attack that it can hit. So next would be Furious Puncher. His effect is you're going to run 3. His effect is when this unit is stood due to the effect of one of your cards, choose one of your other units, and it gets +5. So he's a 7k, so it's good for a 1. It's good for a grade 1. 7k is. So when you stand a unit, it gets +5. When you stand this unit, give another unit +5. And its bottom skill is retire this unit, choose one of your rear guards, and stand it. That's a good effect, but I don't. In this deck, I don't use any of the rest, draw, or stand. I don't use any of that stuff. But it's I mean, if it's the way you like to play, then that's cool. I run now to the grade 0s. I run 6 draw triggers because you need that. It's heavy for the strides because you're gonna need to discard a shit ton whenever you're needing to stand. So you're gonna have to do that. So you're gonna need to draw a lot. Now to the criticals, you're gonna want to run 4. Let's see, 6 of the crits because you're gonna want to deal out the crits and the power to the rear guard. So when they stand, they have that extra crit. So it's a lot more pressure on the opponent. Now you're gonna want to run 4 of the break pass because put it in the soul +5 and draw a card. So that's good for your hand and good for the power of the Vanguard. I don't have 4, but you should definitely get them. I can't afford it because I'm sad.
You really don't have 4?
It's probably laying around somewhere. I just gotta put it in there. And then 1 or not, 2 or 3 of the put to the soul, unflip a card, and then 4 of the gun seal. He's good for just to the flip. His skill is when this unit is discarded from hand, Soul Blast 1, and from the cost of calling Meteor Kaiser Gun Greed from the G zone. If the number of face-up cards in your damage zone is 1 or less, you will pay the cost if you do counter charge. So it's not bad. But with all the new support, you're gonna want the new heals because you're gonna have the counter blasts are gonna be there because they're really helping over Grappler with all the it's good. So so to the strides, you're gonna want to run. I usually first stride Bustard, so you're gonna want to run 3 of him. He's a standing Vanguard. His skill is Counterblast 1. Choose a face-down card in your G-zone and turn it face-up. When this unit attacks, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose the same number of your rear guards as the same number of cards named Meteor Kaiser Bustard in your G-zone and stand them. If 2 or more were stood, and you have 5 rear guards until the end of battle this unit gets, Counterblast 1, choose 2 cards from your hand and discard them. At the end of the battle, you may stand this unit and it gets drive -2. So, you can't do it the first time or the first stride, but once you have 2 and you can stand 2 units, then you can stand him. So that's a good standing Vanguard.
Whoa.
Next will be, you're going to want to run 4 of Meteor Kaiser Victor. He's good because his let's see. When this unit attack hits a Vanguard, choose up to 1 of your rear guards and stand them, and they get +5. So it's good hit pressure. It's not bad. And then it's GB3. Regardless, when this unit attacks, stand a rear guard and give it +5. So in the end, if you're lucky, you get to stand 2 rear guards and they get +5, or you can just settle with standing 1 and giving us +5. It's not bad. It's not bad. So next, it is Meteor Kaiser Victoplasma. He's just a good. If your opponent just totally screwed over your field, he's kind of your ace in the hole. He doesn't really require any rear guards or anything like that. It's just all right. I'll just read his skill. Counterblast 2. Choose a face-down card named Meteor Kaiser Victor from your G-zone and turn it face up. If the number of face-up cards in your G-zone is 2 or more, until the end of battle, this unit gets drive -1. Choose 2 cards from your hand, discard them, and at the end of the battle that this unit attacked, you may pay the cost. If you do, stand this unit, and you just stand the unit. And and it can't be activated for the rest of the turn, but it's very good for that. That good, and it's also standing record, so it's good. Next, let's see. Yeah, if you have a good enough hand, I would recommend going into Favorite Champ. He's pretty good. He stands as a Vanguard a lot because his skill is Counterblast 2, choose a card from your hand, and this is an auto, and discard them. At the end of the battle, this unit attack, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose up to the same number of rear guards as the same number of face-up cards in your G zone and stand them. If 3 or more cards were stood, choose 3 cards. Oh, my bad. Sorry. And stand them. If you have 3 or more cards, if you stood 3 or more cards, choose 3 cards from your hand and discard them. And if you do, countercharge and stand this unit, and it gets drive -2. So that's very helpful. If you think you don't have enough counterblast, he counterflips. So it's not a big worry, but it's okay. So, yep, and that's why you require a good hand so that you can, use these abilities, because it requires a lot to stand the Vanguards, and it's a lot of discarding. So next, GB8. The GB8's a very good, just that. It's a good card, but you do need a big field for it to go off, because its skill is Counterblast 1. When this unit attacks a Vanguard, you may pay the cost if you do. Stand all your units. And until the end of battle, these unit gets, when they attack, they stand themselves, and they get 5,000. Oh, my bad. And then this unit gets 5,000 for each of your rear guards. So you're going to need a big field, so you might want to preserve a good, field in your hand, for that turn. Or, I don't know. It's all you want to do. And now the G guards. There is Urine. I think I said that wrong. Urine R. He's not bad. He when you G guard with him, you can, if you have no face-up cards in your damage zone, you can countercharge 2, and this unit gets +5. Or you can, and you can also, my bad, you can also, if you have no cards in the soul, you can 1, 2. You can soul charge 2, and he gets another +5. So that's good for excessive Victor, wherever he is. Excessive Victor, because he needs cards in the soul for his stride skill to activate. So if you put 2, that's 2 more turns that you can use his skill. So that's very helpful. You want to use 1 Dismal. That way you can save your rear guards, or the ones that you need for that next turn. And the Gun Greed. Greed, sorry. He is good because that if you guard with him, in the beginning of the battle, if you guard the rest of the turn, every guard that was successful, you can countercharge 1. So that's not bad. And this was my Victor deck profile.
Thank you for watching.